Today, we're talking about one of my favorite scripture stories from the New Testament and what we can learn. One of the many things that we can learn from the story of the woman who touched the hem of Jesus' robe to be healed, and how hope kept pulling her forward in the face of unlikely odds. So, if you're in the mood for a dose of encouragement and hope, stick around and we'll have that for you today on this episode of The Nourished Life for Christian Women. Hello, so glad that you're here with me today. And this week, for this episode, I want to talk this week about the woman in the New Testament. Her story is one that I think about often. Definitely one of my top 10 scripture stories that I keep going back to again and again because there's so many things that we can learn from it. This woman had been suffering for 12 years. 12 years. Scripture tells us that she had spent everything she had trying to get better. And instead of improving, she just got worse, which means that this wasn't physical, it was emotional exhaustion. It was financial depletion. It was social isolation. She would have been considered unclean because of her issue of blood, and she would have been completely cut off from any kind of social life at all. Social standing, social life, any contact with anybody. She would have been completely cut off for 12 years. And yet, somewhere in the middle of all of that, she still had hope. Enough hope to move, enough hope to reach, enough hope to believe. If I can just touch his garment, I can be made whole. Today, I want to talk about why real change in your life doesn't begin with more pressure. It begins right there with hope. Because if we're honest, a lot of women I talk to feel closer to her story than they want to admit. Maybe not physically the same way, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they've tried things. They've invested time and energy and money. They've told themselves, this time I'll finally change. And maybe for a little while things did shift, but somehow they found themselves right back in the same patterns. And maybe you can relate. And over time, something subtle starts to happen. It's not dramatic, it's just quiet, and hope begins to wear thin. And when hope fades, we usually don't say, I've lost hope. We say things like, I just need more discipline. Why can't I stay consistent? What is wrong with me? But what if the real issue isn't your discipline? What if it's that your hope has been slowly eroded? Over the last few episodes, we've been uncovering some important things. We talked about the subtle ways we abandon ourselves and call it discipline. We talked about how even when we know better, we don't always do better. And we talked about how easy it is to let your past self quietly narrate your future. And all of that awareness matters. But if we stop there, oof, that can feel heavy because now you see the patterns, but you're not yet sure how to get out of them. And this is exactly where hope becomes essential. That woman in the scriptures did not have a perfect plan. She didn't have a guaranteed outcome. She didn't even have full access. She had to press through a crowd just to get close. And she knew as she was pressing through that crowd, that every person that she touched would now be considered unclean. But what she had was something powerful. She had a picture of a different future. If I can just touch. That is hope. And this connects directly to something that Dr. Benjamin Hardy teaches. Your behavior is driven by your future, not your past. We don't move toward what we should do, we move toward what we believe is possible. That's in our future. That woman moved because she believed something different was available for her, even after 12 years of evidence that said otherwise. So let's bring this into your life. If you've been telling yourself, I just need to try harder, I just need more discipline, I just need to get it together, then pause. Because effort alone doesn't create change. If it did, you'd already be living it. You've tried, you've pushed, you've started over more times than you can count. This isn't about willpower. It's about whether there's still a part of you that believes something different is possible for me. Because if that belief is weak, your actions will be inconsistent. Not because you're broken, but because your future feels uncertain. So, what did that woman actually do? She reached. That's it. She didn't overhaul her whole life overnight. She didn't wait until she felt confident. She didn't clean everything up first. She moved toward what she hoped could be true. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate change. We think it has to be big and dramatic, complete. But real change often looks like reaching again, choosing one different thought, taking one aligned action, staying with yourself in one moment that you would have abandoned yourself before. Hope grows within movement, not perfection. So I want to ask you something today. Where have you stopped reaching? Where have you quietly decided, this probably won't change? This is just how I am. I've already tried everything. Because that's not the end of your story. That's just a place where hope got tired. And hope can be rebuilt. Not all at once, just one reach at a time. This is actually at the heart of what we're going to be exploring in an upcoming event in April. The lie of not enough and why you're doing so much and still feel behind. Because underneath that lie is often a quiet loss of hope, a belief that who you are now is as far as you can go. But that woman's story tells a different truth. 12 years didn't disqualify her, and your past doesn't disqualify you either. Maybe today isn't about fixing everything. Maybe it's just about this, reaching again, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if it's just the beginning of hope returning. Hope can pull you forward. Hold on to that. If today's episode or any other has resonated with you, I wanted you to know that I offer a free 30-minute call. If you'd like to schedule that, you can find the details for how to do that in the description for this episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe.